Hey, what's up? My name is John Bonjour, and I'm a comic artist and film enthusiast. I have not drawn any art, but I would like to infuse about two films today. We are catching up on some reviews that I haven't been able to make. I'm going to be talking about The Life of Chuck and then Ballerina. Okay, so we're going to start with The Life of Chuck. I'm honestly not going to talk about too many spoilers. I'm not going to go super in-depth with either of these because, to be entirely honest with you, it's a little too late to review these movies. It's a little late to release these videos, but I just kind of want to do it. I feel like it's worth talking about. They're movies that I saw, and I want to, I don't know, gratify my choices by that. I want to justify my life decisions. I'm not sure what I'm making this for. I really do just want to talk about both of these movies because I think there's some interesting stuff to discuss. Life of Chuck, I saw it as one of the Cinemark secret screening kind of things. This is the first time I've ever done that, which, by the way, highly recommend if you've never done, or if you have, one of the secret movie screenings where they're like, oh, it's a new movie, you're gonna go see it, you don't know what it is. It's really fun to try to figure out what it is, like, throughout the trailers, trying to, like, solve a mystery, basically, put a little puzzle together. It was a blast, and then having it come on and be like Life of Chuck, a movie that I had only seen a poster for, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'd seen literally anything else. So yeah, it was a fun experience to be able to not know at all what I was about to get into, and then get into a thing that, at the end of the day, is one of my favorite movies of the year. It was so shockingly heartfelt and genuine in a way that I was fully unprepared for. It's segmented into three sort of acts. I think they call them acts even, but basically three different angles on the same story. I guess I might spoil a little bit in terms of if you've never seen anything about it. So I guess slight spoilers. It is based on a short story by Stephen King, and I think it's based on a short story in a way that I like these kinds of things to be based on short stories. It doesn't feel like they just took a short story and were like, I don't know, other stuff happens after that. Like it feels like sometimes you see a short film that gets turned into like a feature film, and it's like, yeah, this was a good idea for a short film. Like, it's not like a great idea for an entire film. I think, I don't know, like Night Swim would be a good example of that. The Night Swim short film, pretty fun, very solid. It's basically the opening of the movie. Night Swim the movie, not fun, not solid, pretty substantially bad. Does have Wyatt Russell, I like that about it. But my point being is that this is based on a short story by Stephen King, and I think the way that they extrapolated the short story into a full film, having not read the short story, so I could be wrong about this, but I assume I know what the short story is about and what it kind of entails from the movie. The way that they adapt it, it kind of feels like, my guess is that the first and probably the back half of the third act are what the short story actually is, and then they just kind of flesh it out with this sort of character ad story in between. And I think that's wonderful. I have absolutely no problem with that. This is just a really, really good movie. Tom Hiddleston is so solid in it. Really, the whole cast. There's a bunch of people. Karen Gillan's in it, and she does a great job. Mark Hamill is also in it, and he's a wonderful little crotchety old guy. This is one of those things that I had to look up at the end of the movie. Is just like, I haven't checked in on him. Is that what Mark Hamill looks like now? And no, it's makeup, I think, mostly. But yeah, this is a movie that consistently surprised me. It takes a lot of turns. It does a lot of things that I wasn't really prepared for. And at every turn, every time they started a new thing, because it really does kind of segment itself even within the three segments. Every time they started a new thing, I would kind of feel like, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I'm not entirely sold on it. It could be interesting. And then by the end of it, I was 100% hooked. Really very effective filmmaking. I think it's just really solid. If I remember right, and I should have done research before this, but I just didn't. If I remember right, Mike Flanagan directed this. He's the guy who did Hill House, and he did that movie about the kid that sleeps and dreams. Oh, what is that movie called? It was really good. I remember liking that movie. And then I think he also did Dr. Sleep. Man, I'm pulling a lot of this straight out the ace. I think he did Dr. Sleep. He's a director that I really enjoy. He's relatively utilitarian just in the way that he makes films. They don't feel super flashy or elegant. They feel very current. They feel very, just like effective in terms of telling a story, but they're not trying to show anything specific or that's not true. They are art. Like they're artfully made, but they're a little bit more bare bones. They're a little bit less flashy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He's not Baz Luhrmann, is essentially what I'm getting at. And I think for a lot of things that can be kind of bad, that can feel a little bit cheaper, a little bit more homogenized. but I think in this case, it ends up making the whole movie feel a little bit more grounded in a way that I think works shockingly well. All that to say, Life of Chuck is really solid. I don't know if it's still in theaters. It doesn't seem like it's making a whole ton of money. It is hilarious to watch Stephen King on Threads just be like, you guys should go see Life of Chuck. It's just a really good movie. And it's like, well, yeah, you wrote the short story. And also, Stephen King, I love you to death. You think everything is good. Like, that's my favorite thing about Stephen King, is that he is a man who writes really well-crafted horror and just stories in general. He's just a brilliant writer. And also, I don't know if he's just completely given up on having an opinion, but it is just like every time he posts something, it's like, oh yeah, this is the greatest movie ever made, The Flash. They got Stephen King to say The Flash is the greatest superhero movie ever made. And it's like, in what context? For what reason? It is, I will give you this, the greatest live action Flash movie, unless there's another one, in which case that is the better one. But yeah, if Life of Chuck is still in theaters, you should definitely go see it. I highly, highly recommend it. It is just fundamentally wholesome in a way that I fully appreciate, and I think we really need right now. What's that cat's name? I can't believe I can't think of it. Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard is also in this movie for a very brief amount of time, and he gives one of the most effective monologues I've seen in a really long time, if not ever. So again, please go check this movie out, Life of Chuck. And if it's on streaming or Blu-ray or whatever, I'll definitely be buying the Blu-ray, but just because this is, man, I really want to see this movie again, and I'm just in love with it. I've been thinking about it since I saw it, and it's been a couple of weeks. So I really should have made that video. This would have been really topical at the time, which is going to bring us to Ballerina. But before we do that, I want to just take a moment to address our sponsor. I would like to address the nation about our sponsors. Today's sponsor is twofold. One, you in sort of a different way, because I have a Patreon, patreon.com/JohnBonjour, where I post sponsor number 2, Edge of Bordertown, my free comic book. I post it free on my website, johnbonart.com. I also post it on Reddit if you're on there more than you are my website, which would be horrifying if you were on my website more than pretty much any other website. But I do post a free comic, Edge of Bordertown, on johnbonart.com, on Reddit, r/Edge of Bordertown, and also on my Patreon, where you can see the pages that I post weekly a week early. So if you want to catch up on Edge of Bordertown, please go to johnbonart.com. And if you want to see new pages a week early, go to my Patreon, patreon.com/JohnBonjour. That money also goes to making things like this. It lets me see more movies so I can make more videos like this, hopefully a little sooner than I'm making this one. But yeah, Patreon allows my creative wheels to flow. Wheels don't flow. It allows my creative wheels to turn. It allows my creative wheels to turn. And so I would really appreciate it if you just check out patreon.com/JohnBonjour, because it makes things like this possible. Thank you for all my current patrons and people that are supporting me in spirit. I love you all. That does go on ahead and bring us to Ballerina from the world of John Wick, or possibly from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, a John Wick mystery. I'm not sure what the official titling of this movie is. Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, and also Keanu Reeves just a little bit. This is much better than I thought it was going to be, if I'm being entirely honest with you. I heard that they were doing a bunch of reshoots kind of halfway through, and it sort of shows in the sense that this is a surprisingly clunky film. It's a movie that I think when it's working, it works really well, and it probably works 80% of the time, which I think is very good. The other 20% is when they're trying to do story at all. When they're trying to do story at all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The sections of this movie where they're trying to give a backstory don't really work. They do some interesting things that I think allow the world to grow in some ways that I think are cool. But generally speaking, the weakest part of this movie is 100% the story. And I'm getting the negative out of the way, because at the end of the day, it actually doesn't matter at all to me. I have my negatives. I have things that I think are flaws in this movie, and I'll stand by them. I just don't really care that they're flaws, and it doesn't really affect me that there are elements of this movie that don't work. Ballerina is such a fun movie. Ana de Armas is so good at the stunts and the choreography. The choreography is wonderful. It feels like a John Wick movie, which is cool. I tried to watch the Continental Show, did not feel it. never connected with me. I tried to like it. I watched the first episode, movie, show thing, and it was fine. Like, I didn't dislike it. I just didn't care for it particularly. This is definitely on the other end of the spectrum. It's a lot closer to a John Wick movie. This is basically, my friend Preston pointed it out. We saw it all together. By we, I mean the people that I do a podcast with. Go check out MPRPH, Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour. Preston pointed this out. This is essentially the John Wick backstory movie. It just happens to be about a different character. And honestly, that was really smart. That was a really smart, well, it was a really smart thought he had, but also it was a really smart idea to do this in that way, because there is an element of mystery to John Wick that I think adds to his character, but also we kind of want to explore the idea of someone being brought into this world, built up in this world, and trying to figure out what to do with that. I think that's a very interesting story, and it probably would have taken something from the character if it had been John Wick. But because it's not John Wick, it doesn't really matter, because it's Eve something. Mercutio? No. Eve. It fully doesn't matter. It couldn't matter less. But the fact that this is a different character, I think, makes this a lot more fun to watch. That said, there are some really wonderful scenes. It introduces some things that I think are really fun. You know what? I might spoil it. I might spoil some of this, just because I can just say it's fun as much as I want, but I want to actually have something to bring to the table to this review. So here we go. Light spoilers major spoilers for Ballerina from the world of John Wick. A John Wick story. Basically, the third act of this movie takes place in this mountain town where everybody is involved in this extremely violent cult of murderers. And that's really fun. The idea of this like compound where our main character has to just fight through an entire town of people where it's like, yeah, that little French chef, she's trying to kill you. The guy who sells you shoes, he's trying to kill you. Your dad, he's trying to kill you. Like, it's fun to see her kind of like figure out slowly that everyone in this town is going to try to kill her, and they're not gonna stop, and they probably will if she doesn't do something about it. I think that's really fun. The antagonist of this movie does work very well. Her connection to the antagonist does not work, but the way that he operates works really well. I like the idea of this kind of, in this world of rogue assassins with these rules, I like the idea that there's also this sect of other assassins that don't have rules, and all the assassins that are the high-class assassins are like, oh, how dare they? They're not supposed to. I think that's very fun, because you're all killing people, so there's like, you just have to kind of buy into this, and John Wick really is built on you buying into whatever the thing is. And in this case, you just have to buy into the idea that those guys are bad because they kill people in a way that isn't cool, and these guys are good because they kill people in a way that is. I don't know where the logic is there. It doesn't really matter. But there's an understanding of what a John Wick movie needs to be. There's that grenade sequence, which is wonderful. It's just an absolute blast, no pun intended. They're creative with the action, which I wasn't necessarily prepared for. I kind of thought it was going to feel a lot more stable, a lot more like, well, we'll get one under our belt and then see where the franchise goes. And that's not what this is at all. The flamethrower sequences are astronomically fun to watch, and also just like super hyper violent. There's a dark sadistic glee that this movie has that I don't think the other John Wick movies really partake in, which is fun to see. It makes me happy to see that they're trying to do something new. And honestly, like, all of the things that work in this movie work so well that I would love to see Ballerina 2 still dancing. I think that would be something that would be worth watching. It's fun to see this character. Ana de Armas really, again, does very much bring it. There is a twist reveal at one point in there where it's like, oh, this person that you kind of met once is your sister, turns out. And it's like, all right. Even the movie, like, when that reveal happens, they give it a minute to be like, oh, wow, isn't this crazy? And then immediately shoot her in the head, which is just like, even the movie doesn't care about that reveal. And I think that's very funny. Point being, Ballerina from the world of John Wick is very fun. I really have stuck to that. I don't know if that's what they're going with. Ballerina is a very fun movie. I liked it a lot, and I want to see it again at some point, just because I like the John Wick movies. I'm happy that this is not a bad John Wick movie. This is probably, in my opinion, better than the first one. I don't know. I haven't seen the first one in a while, but there is a section in there where I just kind of tune out. Point being, Ballerina, super fun. Life of Chuck, also very good, but in a very, very, very different way. Ballerina is like the Happy Meal. Life of Chuck is like a really hearty salad. And I mean that in both the positive directions. I don't know if that sounded good, but I mean those both in positive ways. But I'd love to hear what you guys thought. Have you seen Ballerina? Have you seen The Life of Chuck? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on both of those movies, either of those movies. I would love to hear your opinions. And also, was this too late to make? Did I make a mistake? Is this a life choice I should have rethought? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, possibly a little late, comics, TV shows, or anything of the sort, hit the like button and the subscribe. Man, I'm really fumbling this one. And hit the like, hit the subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or talk about next, or do none of those things, because I certainly am not your dad.